most video games are hard to adapt because there is no story.
Right.
When we think about games like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter,
Mario Kart.
Sonic, they adapted, the Mario Brothers, like they don't really have like a beginning to end focus on like story. It's about mechanics. It's about getting the goal, beating the boss,
Right.
The most recent version of a video game thing I didn't watch was the Halo thing. And the first Halo came out way early 2000s. Again, I don't think followed any structure that was laid out in the video game. And that was one where you could have just done a series like about Halo. But again, they decide to make new characters. They decide to put a different story on it, and they only pay homage to these things. We don't do that with other things. Like when we adapt stuff, besides the superhero comics, which Marvel does, when we adapt like a book, like we're adapting it like from the page.
Yeah.
We're not like suddenly making things up. We go to it because we want to see what they took from the book, and what they left out,
Right.
And some things have to change for a medium and some things don't. I think what usually makes a bad adaptation of a book or a comic book or any video game is when you give those moments that were from those original mediums, but then like you either gloss over them or you don't give them their like due. What I think is great about The Last of Us so far, and what makes it a good adaptation, is that it's not afraid to give you the moments. You were like, are these shot for shot? And some of the times they're close, but they're not.
It feels like it.
And when they're not shot for shot, there's a reason for it. And also like there's like subtle changes, but they're still going to give you the moment. They're still going to give you what matters from this scene, right? Again, this is an easy game to adapt. But despite all the changes they make, the changes that they make are meant to fill out the world in ways that we didn't get from the game. Because normally when we're playing a game, we have one perspective that we're seeing the game from. I say normally, it doesn't always happen that way. But we get a scene with Marlene and we get a scene with Ellie as well, like early on, whereas normally we wouldn't. The reason why we don't meet Ellie in the video game until she tries to jump Joel is because we're in Joel's perspective.
Yeah, it's linear. He doesn't know she exists.
But here we get to see little moments beforehand and as well as like scenes that didn't exist. And again, we get like a longer prologue. We get longer with Sarah. And I think that's great because we're going to continually like compare Sarah, I think, to Ellie in this show. Whereas I don't know that we did that as much in the game because we don't get as much time with Sarah, because it's not necessarily like really about that. It's just about Joel, So I do love that like here we're going to like pay off certain themes that like were present, but like are more apparent in this medium than they were in the game. But while they make those changes, they're still giving you the good moments, and they're still surprising you, right? They're like, oh, instead of just having it where a truck hits the car, why not have it be a plane crashes into the city?
Crash a fucking plane?
Like that's a great change. But everything before that is still very much, you get those moments,
Right.
and they don't gloss over them.